Hello world of YouTube and welcome to a listening log aside, where I take a look at the EPs I've listened to over the last couple of months. I'm not going to do these every month because every month I don't listen to EPs. I'll probably do this like once every 3 months. This is the first one, and I'll end up doing one at the end of next month because I'll probably end up listening to a handful of EPs between now and the end of the year. But that's beside the point. So far this year, outside of the one I reviewed, I've only listened to 3 EPs. Technically 6, but I'm not going to talk about or because I had hands in the mixing of 2 of them and I made one of them. All of those linked in the description, by the way. But these 3 EPs I'm going to talk about just to kind of catch you guys up with where I'm at. I do actually plan on listening to a handful of ones that have dropped recently from artists, so that'll be fun. But let's get into it. Now, before talking about them, I did give these re-listens to kind of reaffirm my opinions, and they hadn't really changed. The first one I checked out this year was Everything's newest EP, A Deeper Sea. Now, I was a little underwhelmed by their album that dropped last year, A Fever Dream. I liked it, and it grew on me with every listen, and so did this EP, but even less so than the album did. This thing features a new song, an off-cut, a remix, and a live cut, and they all work. They're all fine. I like the mood on the Mariana, and I think it pairs well with the Ivory Tower remix. I like Breadwinner Soundscape. I think it's a good offshoot from A Fever Dream sound. It's all good. It doesn't do as much to tide me over as I Believe It Now, their song that they dropped after Get to Heaven, did, and these don't match up to the off-cuts and B-sides from Get to Heaven, but it's about what you'd expect from A Fever Dream era, everything. They're really good. I love the drones on these songs. I think they do a lot for the atmosphere, and I think they enhance the sense of urgency behind some of these songs, especially on the Ivory Tower remix. I think that's the standout cut on this release. It wasn't even my favorite cut off of A Fever Dream, but this remix does wonders for its ideas within the song. The writing is just as tight as everything's really standard is met as far as the writing is considered. The writing on here is up to the same standard that everything release has. Is just a solid EP. If you want more everything and you liked A Fever Dream a lot, this will tide you over into hopefully their next project next year. I gave it like a 6 out of 10 on release. I'm in the same boat I am now. The Weeknd dropped an EP called My Dear Melancholy. And I listened to it around the time it dropped, and again, I like this. It kind of tides me over a little bit until the next Weeknd release. It has a lot of songs that are of the same kind of dreary, moody atmosphere that coded some of his earlier work, only to a lesser degree here. I've never really talked about the Weeknd's music on the channel much. I actually really like Abel. I've been following him for a long time. I've talked about him a little bit in that regard, but I like this thing. I think it's good. I really love the soundtrack and the soundscapes of Wasted Times and I Was Never There. I think they're the standouts on this EP. I know Call Out My Name was a single, and it's a good cut. It's got good single potential, but my favorite cuts on here are Wasted Times and I Was Never There. I think they're the best as far as standing out amongst the dreary, dulcet tones that coat this thing. I think Abel's harmonies are good. He's doing his shtick, and he's doing it well. Same calling cards lyrically that he's known for. He's just dipping into a few older textures this time around, and I don't mind that. I hope his new record has more of that. Again, 6 out of 10. It's a good EP. Nothing substantial that I'd write home about, only that it kind of tied you over until his new project releases. This came the fuck out of nowhere. If you guys don't know, over the last couple years, I've been wondering, where is Andre 3000? and we found him in a piano bar with James Blake playing the fucking clarinet. This thing blew me the fuck away when it dropped. I listened to it on Mother's Day when it dropped, and I was floored. I would never have expected Andre 3000 to come back in this sort of fashion, but I'm not surprised he is. Andre's always been about forward thinking, experimenting, changing up your shit, and on here, he makes a fucking 17-minute jazz cut, and he keeps it interesting. He's not the best clarinet player, but he's capable. He's good at keeping in style of the music he's playing, you know? And I really like the writing on Me and My To Bury Your Parents. I think it's really heartfelt, and it sends its message as trying to get across well. I hope he makes an album. If there's anything I want out of 2019, because I doubt it's happening in 2018, is for Andre 3000 to drop a record, whether it's hip-hop, whether it's traditional R&B, like he pulls a Childish Gambino and puts out a traditional R&B album, I wouldn't be opposed to that. Or if he makes a jazz album, I really wouldn't be opposed to that. It'd be fucking rad to pull a 9 Inch Nails this year and make a fucking jazz album next year. I was floored by this thing. I think it was really sincere. I think it has that sort of nuance that I would expect from Andre 3000, and he came to deliver. I give it a 9 out of 10. Jesus Christ, I want more. And those are the EPs I checked out so far in 2018. Again, I have a lot on my docket I've been avoiding or not getting to in lieu of doing albums, but I'll get to them. I'll talk about them. You'll hear my opinions. The reason why I started doing this is because somebody suggested an EP, and other people wanted to hear me talk about the other EPs I'd heard. And those are the ones I'd heard. But I'm going to go. I have been Viral Rack. You guys are good at lots of situations. Again, these won't happen every month like the albums, but if I decide to dip into a handful of EPs within a certain amount of time, they'll be like a nice little extra video. And I'll see you another day.